Thank you, Sarah. Yes, thank you for that beautiful invitation to honor the shoulders that I stand on, actually. And so this work possibility management is an open source and copyleft body of research. And it was first originated by Clinton Callahan and his possibility team by doing experiments with different thoughtwares and distinctions. And he thought that you can check his website, which I'm going to share as well in the email of resources. Um, a lot of these works were born in Europe. They were born in Europe, and it's about initiating humans into an authentic adulthood. And because also in Europe, I love this work because it's not about co-opting already initiations from different traditions. It's creating ways so that human beings can leave them and can bring more possibilities from themselves out of modern culture, out of this patriarchal colonial modern culture. And so Clinton worked with a group of friends since university in the 70s. He was in the United States in California and continued to develop using some maps from transactional analysis or Eric Berne, but most of the tools and maps were really originated by experimenting. So it comes from him and from all of the trainers of possibility management for the last 30, 40 years. Thank you, Sarah. There's an edge. There's an edge that you are walking on. It's an edge of modern culture, what I just called modern culture. So modern culture is a capitalist, colonial, patriarchal empire. It's and you are all here because you are wanting something. You're already working and creating something more than the current mainstream culture offers. So you are working at the edge. And people who are working at the edge, they're called edge workers. They're people who take a higher level of responsibility than the majority of people. So majority of people in the world I could say that they're using about child to adolescent level of responsibility. You know, when a child makes a mess, it's the parents or the adult who cleans it up. So this is kind of what we're doing in the mainstream culture with toxic waste, with economic disparity, with all this pollution, climate chaos, and who's cleaning it up? Who is cleaning it up? So it's the next generations, it's global South countries. It's still a continuation of the colonial empire and capitalism and patriarchy. So to get out of that, we have to take care of it, take more responsibility. So when an adult makes a mess, and this is why we call it authentic adulthood, because when an adult makes a mess, he cleans it up or she cleans it up. And then so we can take an adult level of responsibility. But more than create kind of a fair level of responsibility, you can even take further steps that you are all doing. You're taking higher. You're taking responsibility for things that are not just about your life. So you are edge workers, all of you here. And as edge workers, you have a very similar amount of clarity. You can look back in modern culture as you're working at the edge, and you can see what is not working and what is the effect and the impact of the beliefs and the memes and the considerations that people hold about each other, about worth and value and space and commons. And you might look at in front of you, and what is beyond this current culture. And I think you have a similar clarity of there's this vast unknown, this vast thing that you're looking forward and creating. So as this edge that you're experiencing, it's the edge of culture. And as you're walking in these margins, you start feeling things. It's if you're going to transform something in the world, if you're going to transform yourself, you're going to have to go into a kind of what in possibility management we call a liquid state. The liquid state is where all the assumptions of the world and all the constructs of the world and who you are and who others are and who the governments are and what education is and all of these constructs start falling apart. They start cracking. It starts not computing. What you see, what you feel, and what you know exists starts to get into conflict. And so this is when you're at that point, you're at the edge of that, of what you know, your familiar state, and you start feeling something. And this is in this feeling, the work of possibility management really supports the navigation of this falling apart. So if you want transformation or getting anything different to happen, being at the edge is the important thing, and falling apart and experiencing feelings is part of that transformation. At the edge, you do start feeling, and you start having sensations. You can have sensations in all different bodies. You can have sensations in your physical body of tension, of lack of sleep, of eating a lot. You can have just like tension in your stomach, but you can also have sensations in other bodies. You know, in school, we only learn about one body. In our culture, most of us only hear about the intellectual body. What about the physical? What about the emotional body? What about the energetic body? You know, the part of us that feels our emotions, or the part of us that has a sense and a distinction about our own personal space and our own essence. And even the concept or the idea that there is an archetypal body, a body that is about what we're meant to do in this world, it's not even talked about. So in possibility management, we distinguish these 5 different bodies. And the liquid state starts happening, this sensations, when all our certainties start falling apart, start raising in our bodies. And so I really would like you to experience this. This is a journey of experiencing and navigating through it, and just kind of a seed as well. Habet, do you want to add anything for this?
Yeah, I think that fits now very well. I can give some more distinctions about the thing that falls apart. Because in possibility management, we have a word for that. You might have a word for that yourself and you name it a little bit different, but we call it the box. This is our box. And our box is made of, yeah, like Vera already said, it was made in our mental bodies. Like it's a construct, it's not real, but it feels real. It's the thing that tells me who I am and what I am and how I should be and how I should behave and what's okay and what's not okay and what I like and what I don't like. So when we say like your life is shaped by what you lived, it's that's what is your context, the I, the ego. And when we start giving it a name, we can identify it and we can more easily deal with it, and we don't take it as natural, and we don't assume that the others think the same. So whenever people have a conflict, it's actually their box that has a conflict. It's one box having a conflict with another box. Because what we've been doing in the beginning, when we asked you to look at each other for more than a few seconds, the thing that was resisting it was your box. because in modern culture, like the culture we live in, most of you, I guess, live in, it's not so common to look at someone more than 3 seconds or 4 seconds. So this is already your first out of the box experience, your first experiment as an edge worker is to do something that your box wouldn't do. So when we want you to break down, we want you to do something what you wouldn't do normally. Like you would try something new. Because actually, in every moment, you have the chance to do something you've never done before. So what's preventing you from doing it? It's your box. So we want you to experiment consciously with the edges of your box and to see where is the edge of your box you would need to feel. Do you have any questions about that?
Well, maybe before we go into questions, we do a practice, and then the questions can be informed.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like you to join in pairs and start already seeing, like, I would like you to share with another distinction that we do in possibility management that brings clarity to the falling apart. Consider that we can distinguish 4 main basic feelings, and they're anger, sadness, fear, and joy. So these 4 basic feelings, anger, sadness, fear, and joy, is what makes up it makes up our whole emotional kind of experience. And so it gives a lot of clarity to start recognizing which parts of our feeling is anger, which is sadness, which is joy, and which is fear. So just already start to call those 4 emotional energies into your space. And I'm going to put you in pairs, and I would like you to really start just low level, just talking about what are you angry about, what are you sad about, what are you scared about, and what you're glad about being an edge worker and working at this edge of what you see is happening and what you see is needed and could be different. Okay, so I'm not going to give a lot of what you should do or you should not do, because it's really about feeling the feelings. Just allow your anger to speak, allow your sadness to speak, allow your fear to speak, and your joy to speak for you. Okay, so we can give a little example. Habet, would you like to do it, or do you want
Yeah.
to do it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I feel fear because I don't know what to say. I feel joy because I'm still speaking and trying to figure out what's going on. I feel angry because there's a light in my face and it feels like someone is taking pictures of me. I feel sad because for me the exercise is over now.
Yeah.
So let it just come up. It doesn't have to make sense or anything.
Yeah, just and focus it on your work, on what you seek. So Habet focused right on the right now, which is great. She was just saying about her experience in the present moment. And so you have already clarity about this world, and you have enough clarity about the work that you're doing and what you see is needed. And please share with the person in front of you. I'm going to give you around 2 minutes per feeling. So really say all of the things that you're angry about it and all of the things that you're scared about it. Okay. And I'm going to give a bit more time. And if there's at any point you you think, oh, I don't have anything else, just start saying it. Just start saying, I feel anger because, and then see what happens. Because a lot of our times our mind has the answers really ready because school happened and this is what happens. But there's something else that after that silence will speak. And that thing might surprise you. So just allow some space for that experience to occur if it occurs. Okay?
And you have more time than me, so let this feeling get bigger as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to put you all in breakout rooms. And that will be everyone. Oh, good. We have perfect in 2 rooms. And Habet and I are going to stay in the main room. So if something happens with your room or something in the connection, just come back to your room and to the main room, and I'll pull you back in. Okay. Cool. 222. And okay.
It's 8 minutes each, right?
Yes, and I'll send you the question, and I'll ask you to also turn. So 2 minutes per feeling.
Do you know that you offered me breakout room 9?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go there? No.
Yes, actually, could you go there and I can do it with Dita?
Yeah, I go there. Yeah, right.
We can also be in the space. Thank you. Hi, Dita. Can you hear me?
I can.
Perfect. Would you like to start? Or would you like me to start?
All right, so are we already in the breakout room?
We are in our breakout room, which is in this case the main room. Are you okay with it being recorded?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes.
So before we start, I'm just gonna warn you that my connection is not brilliant, so it may happen that it gets a bit.
Yes. Thank you. Would
Right.
you
so
like to start? Please.
Yes.
Please tell me all the ways that you feel sad, glad, mad, or scared about being an edge worker and working where you are at this edge of mainstream culture.
Yeah. I'm afraid of being an edge worker because I can never be sure that I really know the truth. I don't know. I feel that what I am doing is what I need to do, but all the layers of things that I've learned are in conflict sometimes with that. And then I feel it's this arrogance that I think I know the way, but actually the majority of people that are not walking with me, but that are not the people that are not in the edge, are they the ones who are right, and am I wrong? So I'm really afraid of that. I am angry. Should I wait with the next?
Go for it. You can, if you have more fears, you can still go for more fears. If you want to go from one feeling to another, it's also all right.
All right. I am afraid about so many things in this In this journey, I am afraid of hurting other people, even if I know that I have to do it, because it's gonna be a journey that is gonna hurt. And sometimes in grief, there is it's a very good teacher. I'm really afraid of hurting people. I'm afraid of burning out. I'm afraid of wasting time. And actually, I'm not afraid. I do a lot of wasting time. I'm afraid of running out of time. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of, particularly with the people that are very close to my heart, I'm afraid of leaving them behind, or that they are not with me in the journey. I'm afraid of the distance that this journey has brought me to. I don't know if I'm gonna see my family again. Yeah, there's a lot of fear. I think the main fear is that it's not enough, that it's never gonna be enough, what I'm doing, and that we're running out of time and losing an opportunity that feels so precious and unique. And that brings me joy. I feel a very deep gratitude and joy to be alive in this time. I feel a lot of joy for my choices, for actually being here and walking on something that doesn't look like a path anymore, but it's more like a territory without a map. Now, actually, I have a fear that I have lost the connection.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I have an enormous joy for the people that are walking this edge with me. I often say that I have one superpower, and it's to know amazing people, and it's true. It's such a blessing to know people that work so hard and so bravely and with so much skill and passion. It's really a blessing to experience it and to feel part of it. I'm very joyful because it feels that this is a time of transformation like we haven't seen for a very long time, because it feels like a huge opportunity to do something that is so much larger than anybody and so much larger than any culture. And yeah, yeah, there's a lot of joy in walking this path. Also, there is joy in seeing changes already all the time.
What are you
I don't know
about?
yes. What
are you angry about working at the edge of modern culture?
My anger feels a bit away at the moment, but there is a lot of it. I feel a lot of anger about the fact that we have to do this, that we have to relinquish so many things in order to be here. And I enjoy it. I wouldn't be anywhere else. And yet sometimes I'm just really angry that I cannot just have fun and relax and just, you know, forget about what's happening. I'm angry that I wake up in the middle of the night with fear and despair. I'm really angry about people who are profiting from this. That really makes me very angry. I'm really angry about people who are hurting others. And sad, it's not that different. I'm really angry at the system. Actually, I'm angry at myself for being part of it, and at most of us who have put this system into place. I mean, this system wasn't imposed from somewhere else. It's our system. I'm really angry about our choices and the choices that we continue making. I'm angry at the hatred, at the way we can just pour all of our traumas into other people and really make a lot of, just perpetuate the traumas that we have. I'm really angry at my time wasting. Yeah. Whew. I think I can go on for about an hour. Yeah, I think the one that is missing is sadness.
Yeah, I'd like you to go into sadness, and yeah, for I know we've already gone through all the minutes, but could you?
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, sadness is just so linked to all the other emotions that I've spoken about, including joy. I think I'm mainly sad about the pain of the world in general. I'm sad about trees that are dying. I'm sad about bumblebees and the water. I'm sad about our environment that is just, it's not dying, but it's just so sick and suffering. And we are part of it. I'm not excluding humans from that. I'm sad about our sickness and our suffering in general. And I think walking at that edge, we see that all the time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rita. I'm moving Sarah, who's here in the main room. I'm putting her in a room with Atal, who she was with.
Okay.
So. Okay. I think, Sarah, do you have the invitation already?
It has not come.
It's not come. I keep saying number two. Still have it. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Hi, Atal. I'm trying to move you both to the room number 2. It's kind of not working for some reason.
After you left the talk, I just kept going and speaking to you beyond the screen, and it was perfect. And then when we switched, I came back here to see if I could find you.
So I don't know how to. It's not allowing me to put you back in a waiting room.
Sure.
I think that you're not receiving the invitation, are you?
I was, yes, and I went off, and then it just brought me straight back again.
Okay. Okay, let me see.
But this
Perhaps,
part,
perhaps if you put it back into the same room,
Yeah,
which
so
room 8, I think.
yeah, I'm putting you both in the 19, and see, are you receiving anything, Sarah? Yeah. Hmm. And are you receiving anything at all?
Not at the moment, no.
Oh. I do not know how to do
may I
it.
make a process suggestion since
Yeah,
there's about 4 minutes?
yeah,
My process suggestion would be for a pause on the recording at this time,
yeah.
and then
And
you and I to make space for Dita and Natal to share a bit, or at least like Habet did.
Yeah.
That would be my process suggestion.
Would that work for you as well, Tal?
I'm happy either way, yes.
Okay. I welcome everyone. Someone's still back. A couple of people are still back in rooms. It can be a wonderful sign that some people don't come back straight away and they stay until the last second of a breakout room. Great. Yeah, when coming back to this main room, just recognize that you were in like a small, more intimate space, and now you're again in the main room. So just take a deep breath, acknowledge that shift, and welcome back. Yeah, now everybody is back. Great. How was that experience from you? Did you get to feel, or were you mainly thinking about the feelings that you would feel? You know, and were you able to be heard and listened to? So how was that experience for you? Anyone can ask questions or have comments and sharing.
I'll go. It was I felt a lot, and I was really I felt really heard and witnessed.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to shift, 2 minutes, the 2 minute from one to the next to the next to the next. But it was great to end with joy. It felt like joy just could wrap around all the feelings and contain all of it. That was really great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd just like to share this, is that usually I'm fairly rational, logical. And I noticed that when I was first starting, it was reasoned emotion. But thanks to Midi, she helped me get deeper. And yeah, we ended up in place I think we should have. So it was really great. Thank you.
I loved being with Grant. I felt very heard by you, Grant, and we didn't follow what seemed to retrospectively have been the plan, because we shared our own experience of each state, and then went on to the next one, and it worked just beautifully for me, and I think for us both. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Did anyone also have a similar experience or even difficulty of feeling one of the four feelings?
I would like to share the exercise for me. It was amazing when listening to the other. It is as if you become one. It was amazing.
Was everyone able to feel all four feelings, or was that one that was a bit harder to connect with? Everyone got all four?
It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like medicine.
It is medicine. I really think it is medicine, because human beings are born with the ability of feeling emotions, and we don't even go to school and learn about competence and literacy about it. We don't. It's most of us, if you're anything, if you grew up in modern culture like I did, I was told since a very young age to not, don't be scared. That's nothing to be afraid of, or stop being so angry, or stop crying. It's okay. Things are okay. You can stop crying now. So then that teaches children that fear or sadness and anger is only when something bad happens, only exists when something bad happens. Maybe it's even like a bad feeling or a negative feeling. And joy is like the good feeling. This is like the kind of judgment that most people in modern culture would have about anger, sadness, and fear. And then when we feel, which inevitably we will feel scared about something, we will feel sad about something and angry about something, then there's a tendency to repress that emotion, that feeling. And it comes out in other ways. So the consideration that we go into is to really to start seeing feelings not as positive or negative, just these energies, this energy that you have, this resource that you have inside of you that you can do something with. That could be a gate for a transformation, could be telling you about your box, what Habet was saying, the bits that you're pushing against at the edge of your box that is giving you some feeling about, an emotion about. I heard some people saying, that they were angry about how some people are profiting from what's happening and the destruction that's happening in the world, and that they were angry. It's, yes, there's an anger, there's something to inspire action. That's what anger is for. And so in the process of transformation, you will feel, it will be required to feel. And knowing that you are going to be in this summit, through all of the different stages, you will hear things, you will practice, probably different maps, different methodologies, and they will stretch what you think is possible, what you think is okay, what you think should be done. And so in that stretching, when we're trying something that we've never tried before, there's going to be all these feelings. And so to kind of realize that you can feel, and that nothing needs to be wrong or bad or negative. The feeling itself, the experience of feeling itself, is part of a healthy and well-designed human being. Just because in modern culture we have this kind of almost disease of not honoring the emotions, it doesn't mean that we are actually, there's something wrong with our design because we have emotions.
And part of the medication, as Njiza, is it your name, Njiza? Yeah, what Njiza said is like this wholeness like feeling one with the other person, because listening to the other person is like the medication as well. You're feeding your emotional body with that. We don't usually do that, and that makes us sick. That's where sickness comes from. So yeah, the opposite of it is feeling whole, feeling like you are one with the other person, or saying it in different ways as a healer is like letting go of separation. Like, because the major cause for illness is separation. So with listening to another being, hearing the feelings of another being is healing. Yeah. Go ahead, Vera. Thank you.
So Naomi, yes? Yes.
Yeah, something that came up for you during the one-on-one talk, which was really lovely, Marjorie. I don't see you right now, but I really appreciate it. It was that our conversation was very unapologetically talking about ourselves, and I feel like I always feel guilty for talking about myself, and I always try in conversations to make it as balanced as possible. So to have that person speak as much as I do, or give them at least as much space as I got from them. And I guess, yeah, sometimes that's a positive thing, and of course it's good to safeguard that. But yeah, it's actually a really valuable realization to know that it is also indeed medicine to listen, and that you're also giving that person a part of you, and that is, yeah, connecting. And that's actually really, yeah, we shouldn't apologize for that, which, yeah, I don't know, it's something like this politeness that we get taught, I think, and sometimes politeness can get in the way of pureness and just complete honesty, and yeah, just purely being, yeah, yourself, both of the people or more in a conversation.
Yeah, because that politeness is part of your box that prevents you from experiencing the whole universe, right? The box is that filter that filters for you and for the other person. Yeah, right. I just read from Nevita, or I don't know.
Habet, before, I just wanted to also mention, because you were going to go for what Vanita had said, right? And I just wanted to,
she wrote it, yeah.
Yeah, but before that, just Naomi said that sometimes we feel guilt, right? And a lot of us are familiar with the emotional experience of guilt. And so one of the clarities that possibility management can bring as well is that guilt is a mixed emotion of anger, fear, and sadness. So if you consider that anger is for these things, for creating boundaries, for saying yes, for saying no. So if you can't say no, by the way, if you cannot establish a boundary, then your yes is fake. So anger is it's by design that that a lot of people are disempowered in their anger, and most people who are disempowered in their anger, they're not able to create boundaries, and they then subscribe to that part of the box of being polite and adaptive, and so being angry is one of the forces and the energies that can make us take a stand, change our minds, and make a boundary, and decide to not just be polite, to be authentic, for example. And so guilt being anger, sadness, and fear, that clarity of anger, when it's mixed, it's like if you see like anger and sadness and fear being balls of yarn, if they're all mixed, you can't get the clarity and the information that exists in that anger, in that fear, and in that sadness. It's all messed up. And so one of the ways that you can, wherever you are, if you're having experience of guilt or even some shame, to really separate them and say, okay, what am I angry about in this situation? What am I scared about in this situation? And what am I sad about? Because when you unmix those emotions, you start getting clarity about the different things that are important to you in that situation. So, so the sadness, instead of having the same energy for anger, for action, would be to communicate, to feel, to let go. That's what the sadness can be used for, to grieve, to listen. The fear is a totally different kind of energy. It's a resource that gives us the ability to create, to walk without a plan, to be in face of the emergent, to pay attention, to really pay attention to a lot of things. So it's like a part of our creativity. So, but those resources we can't access if they're mixed. So if we have guilt, we can separate them. Thanks. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I would like to ask you, Vinita. Do I spell your name right, Vinita?
Yes.
Yes. You shared something very useful. Would you like to say it out loud, please?
Yeah, it's a very cultural thing of anger not being okay, especially with women. So
please say more about that. I think all those women like to hear that.
Yeah. So anger is not okay. So there, again, I resonate with what Vera said, the ball of emotions, So anger is not okay. So there is a fear. When you feel angry, there's a fear of expressing anger because it's not okay. And there is sadness for not being able to be authentic about what you're feeling in that moment. So all these feelings get so mixed up. And especially when we go through difficult times, getting in touch with what is actually going on, getting that clarity gets difficult because these emotions, we don't know what's going on because we're not able to see those emotions with clarity. So, and I've experienced it in the past few years. I'm much better now with all the self-work, but the past 10 years, it has been periods of extreme confusion because all I felt was fear and sadness. And when I got in touch with my anger is when I could really see what's going on and do something about it. And how it was in my body. It was so much in every cell of my body. And as if fear and sadness are capping that anger. It was like that.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Yeah, what you're just saying, that's this mixing, what Vera was just talking about, has a pattern. And that's the pattern you were describing, Vinita. Thank you very much. Within patriarchy, what we have observed in possibility management research is that mostly women, like she just said, are scared to feel angry. And men are mostly angry when they feel fear. So this is part of patriarchy doing that to us. Like this is part of a collective box that it's for men not okay to be scared, like for socially man, let's say, what we would think of what's a man and what's a woman.
Can I say something? Is that okay? Can I just?
Yes, please. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I agree with everything that you've said. And because we do live in patriarchy, that for me, it's not a fear of being angry. It's the fear of the consequence of expressing that anger.
Thank
because
you. Yeah.
that's real. That is real from being when we're little girls and being told not to speak out and not to be cheeky. And we're brought up right from the day one not to be able to speak that anger out. So we learn to protect ourselves. And for me, you know, I've come from a very domestic, violent background, and that I've had to learn to trust my fear, and that fear is good because it's telling me when it's not safe. But then as an adult, I have to make sure that when I am going to express that anger, I've got some women behind me, that I don't have to do this on my own, and that I can get support and assess a situation for being safe. And that, you know, it's really good that we say to women, yes, get in contact with your anger, but then sometimes when it's not safe to do that, sometimes women feel a failure because they can't do, you know. And I think for me, it's about enabling women to assess when it's safe. How do we get with other women? How do we empower ourselves to acknowledge that it's dangerous? And it's, yes, we've had feminism, but it's still bloody dangerous, you know. And let's not forget that. And, you know, for me, safety first. I never ever would like to put a woman in an unsafe place just because she feels she has to speak out. Speak out, but with safety, please. And don't compromise your safety. Get together with others. I feel quite passionate about that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for making this clarity.
Can I build up on what was just said? And it really touched me. Also, in the exercise of anger, and I'm speaking from my own experience, and I exercise it a lot. So I'm learning to taming the dragon, but the price is losing your femininity, your womanhood. Is also, because we were speaking about the woman are this and men and this. I'm very labeled as a very yang, and it hurts me that by the exercising my anger, I lose my, or I get out of the box of what is to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to bring voice to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Shanti, I was just gonna give you, you can speak. I can't see you. Oh, you're there in the boat. Okay, go for it. Yeah, I saw your hand.
I wanted to ask, I think the thing that I get confused about is a lot of women seem to, because they don't express the anger directly, it comes out indirectly through passive aggression. And I'm not that way. I've never been that way, but I have trouble kind of in women in my life who do express that way, knowing how to interact with them. And I find that when I ask, what's wrong, you know, or how can I help, it makes it worse. And yes, that's something I'm struggling with and would love anybody's thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yeah, there's what I want to have, like one of the clarities that I can bring as a trainer of possibility management and working with emotional competence is that feeling a feeling can be separate from what we do with it. So if we use, so I want you to consider that a feeling is not good or bad. It's not good or bad. It's a sensation. It's just kind of as good as bad as south or north or east or west is. But it gives you a very particular information about yourself, your box sometimes. So, you know, when you're angry about something and then you're scared of the consequences of what you're going to have. So like what you've learned then to protect yourself. So your box is also your set of survival strategies that we all had to do for growing up in this kind of world. So all of this is giving you information about your surroundings, yourself, and your box. And it has a particular type of like rocket fuel for doing something. So you can experience, what I'm saying in here is that you can experience the emotion, you can experience the feeling. And that is different from how you're gonna do what you're gonna do about it, okay? So it is super important, for example, to have groups where you can safely start experimenting with expressing your anger in a safe way. Like, for example, and Chloe and I are holding a rage club tomorrow and another one next week, exactly because we know, in particular from women, we know that it's so important to reclaim our authority and our power to be angry. And it doesn't mean to be like, you know, like raging, even though it can be, and to see that actually we are safe. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to just like attack someone in the street, that there is a responsible way of being with your anger, and there's an irresponsible way of being with your anger, as is there's an irresponsible and a responsible way to be with your sadness, your fear, and even your joy. So, you know, and an irresponsible way of dealing with anger is to, you know, power over someone and destroy someone, dismiss someone completely. But a responsible way of using your anger would be to state, no, this is not, I'm not okay with this right now, and I need to leave. I'm not going to do this. Irresponsible way to be with sadness would be to use my sadness to make someone feel guilty, to try to make myself a victim, and someone else is like, you should, you know, I could give an example from my own family. When my grandparents had this amazing, like, you know, their Portuguese, Latin culture, it still has a little bit of this, where if I didn't call so often, instead of them saying, hey, I'm really sad, I miss you, whenever they would see me, they would just kind of tell me kind of sideways, and like, well, you don't really love us, and I'm here all by myself, and you know, you're like totally forgetting about us, and one day I'm gonna die and nobody's gonna know. You know, saying these stories, using her sadness instead of saying, hey, this is really important to me, she was using it a little bit irresponsibly. So to make me feel bad or to make me feel guilty so that I motivate to change. An irresponsible way to use fear, I think we kind of all know, news, right? A lot of the news and the way that they're used to create fear so that we can behave in a certain way. But you can use fear consciously by being careful, just taking care. If you have a lot of things in your hands, I'm just giving a very practical example, but if you have a lot of things in your hands, like a big tray full of glasses, you are definitely using your fear to be careful. But you are also can use your fear in a situation where you don't know what's going to happen, to slow down, kind of slow down time and be hyper aware of everything around you, and to see what is the best way that I can bring to the situation, that I can be safe, that I can make another person safe. Can I call this? Can I call that? So you can use fear to inform you of all of the options, and even options that you didn't know you had.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the distinction you made, snake, woman, girl. That's what you said about women are not afraid to feel it, but they're afraid to express it, right?
Exactly.
So when you say that, it's like the fear is there. So you can trust your fear. That's what you said, yeah? So it's about trusting all of your feelings.
Oh, yeah.
That the one is more valuable than the other. And your box, like when I said, like, it's your box preventing you from expressing it. The difference is, or the distinction that we want to make is that you do it consciously, that you choose constantly, consciously, like you said, to use your box's behavior to be careful. And then it's a conscious decision. With possibility management, you would like to have more options, more possibilities of reacting. Like, and the thing is with your box that it's so tricky that it prevents you from feeling it. It numbs you. That's the problem that I wanted to point out.
Mm.
The feeling is there, but it cannot be experienced. And once it cannot be experienced, not in the full amount of it,
Mm.
the information is not available for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Mm.
What we want to do is like to go to the edge of our box of what we know and let it be shaken by that fear, and to have that awareness of that fear, to be with that. It's not about throwing it away and just do it.
Mm.
And all what was wrote here about your experiences, these are fears that will keep you alive.
Oh yeah.
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 It's not about pushing them aside. It's
Mhm.
about allowing them to be felt separately so that this information that's inside is available for you.
Mm. Mhm. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And a point about boxes, and I think I could go a little bit more in tying it with conflict. So the box is basically your comfort zone, the things that your habits, right? Your known, your familiar, your marshmallow zone. And you start growing and transforming when you go to the edge of what is known. Like you expand the box and then you suddenly have a different comfort zone than before. When you're in conflict with someone, it's not you who is in conflict with that person. It's your box that is in conflict with their box. It's your habits and your way and your right and wrong and your good and bad that is in conflict with their good and bad, right or wrong, and their habits and their behaviors and their education. So when these positionalities come into phase, so this is what our box, because our box is there for survival. It tries to protect you, and so it kind of is this survival mechanism that is always thinking that it's going to be killed, or it's going to, something's going to happen, so I need to survive. It's the on button for survival the whole time, and it's super intelligent. It's supposed to be like that. That's how exactly we learned, like in abusive backgrounds and contexts, to survive and to even start working beyond survival, which I think many of us in this call are in that space. You know, at some point, that box that was super necessary for our survival, at some point, we need to shift the purpose from survival, when in our own timing, in our own authority, to change it to expansion, to go from using the same mechanisms that we had to do to survive, and see that these coping strategies, they don't work on us anymore, that they're actually keeping us small. And so that shift, we used to have it in authentic adult initiations. You know, like traditional cultures would have.
May I interrupt? I've been trying to ask a question for a long time.
Right. I didn't hear.
Habet said I could go ahead and interrupt. I'm trying to be polite. But I'm getting frustrated.
Go.
And you're getting into the arena that I wanted to go into.
Go.
And that is, when you're talking about responsible emotion, I think there are several different layers of that. And I think you're just beginning to address them. And I want to just speak to one of them, which is that most of us, I think pretty much all of us, are survivors of trauma of some sort. And so when we are experiencing these emotions, oftentimes they may have nothing to do with what is happening in that circumstance. They may have everything to do with a perceptual field that we've developed by virtue of our survival that you were just talking about. So when you're speaking about responsible emotions, what I'm curious about is, with possibility management, what is the process by which those of us who want to express those emotions responsibly then look at what is informing my perception about this circumstance? And this is I'm stopping you because you were right there. You were in that.
No.
I wanted to bring the question into the field. So
yeah.
There it is.
Thank you for interrupting me. I am not a teacher, so this is not like I have the knowledge and you don't. So, like, please interrupt me. Yeah, Habet, do you want to answer or do you want me to go?
No, just go, just go.
Okay, so there's an amazing distinction that I found that was, for me, it was mind-blowing, which was the distinction between feelings and emotions. So we call it feelings versus emotions. So because a name, so feelings are from the moment, from right now, something that happens in the moment, and we get a feeling, and then we deal with we can use the feeling to deal with it. But there have been times, most likely, most of us, that the feelings were not able to be expressed either because the context wasn't safe, or we weren't allowed, also not being safe, or we didn't have the tools and the clarity to express it. So then it turns into an emotion. So emotions are mainly from the past, are from those traumas, from those events that we weren't able to express. And for me, one of the mind-blowing distinctions that I found was that we realized that if a feeling stays in our system for more than 3 minutes, it is not a feeling. It's from the past. It's even if it's not a high percentage, it is from the past. So knowing that it's an emotion instead of feeling, we can do different processes. So because feelings are to deal with things and emotions are to heal things. So when in possibility management, we say that you experience an emotion, you can go to a trainer or a colleague or a friend to do an emotional healing process. Usually is to express in a safe way what we are feeling, what was the origin, where did it come from, and to have that communication received and received back. So we have.
I have a suggestion. Shall we try this?
Yeah. We have a couple, yeah. So I was just saying we have different processes, but one that I think that's what Habet wants to do is called completing incomplete emotions. Yeah, is that the one, Habet?
Yes, that's the one.
You presented.
I just want to say goodbye to Deborah. It was great to have you here. I hope you hear me. Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
Habet, do you want to present it?
Yes,
Go.
I would love to. Okay, so yeah, you are now the team or the friend or the colleague to ask for completing a conversation. So you would go into breakout rooms later, and one of you, like person A, decides who person B is gonna be. Like, is it a person from your life, like a teacher, parent, a colleague, an ex-partner? You haven't completed a conversation with that person, maybe because I don't know, you break up, or the person died, or you just went out of school. You had no chance to complete that conversation with that person, and you will tell person B, you are my whatever, and person B would be that person for the exercise. And then you just start sharing whatever feeling come up for you. I want to invite you to really go into that feeling. If it's anger, sadness, fear, mixed feeling, to go into that feeling and to tell the person what you have to say. I recommend to speak slow and to make breaks so that the other person would have the chance to complete the conversation with you, which means the other person will only repeat back what you said, like word by word, until the other person says, yes, that's what I said. And then the person A starts again and says what needs to be said, okay? So you go like this until everything you have to tell that person is said. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like as if you're translating the sentences, you know? Shall we do that, Vera, for a moment?
Yeah, let's exemplify. I just wanted to make, it's important to say, we found that it's important when we say, I feel one of the 4 feelings, and to feel it. So to say the story of what the feeling is about, or the emotion is about, but also to say the name of the emotion. It's we found it very empowering. So you can try it. Yeah.
Yeah, I will show with Vera. Yeah. Vera, would you please be my daughter, Alia?
Alia. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Aliyah.
Okay. Hi, Aliyah. I am angry because you didn't tell me on time that today is going to be your graduation party.
You're angry because I didn't tell you in time that it was going to be your graduating party, my graduating party.
Yes. Because like when you did that, you didn't give me a chance to be there on time.
When I did that, I didn't give you a chance for you to be there on time.
Yeah, and I assume that you did that because you didn't want me to be there.
And you're assuming that I didn't want you to be there. So that's
yes,
why.
And that makes me very sad.
And you're sad about that. It makes
Yes,
you sad.
Because I would love to be there.
You'd love to be there.
Yes. Thank you, Vera.
Thank you. And then we switch. Can I do one?
Different.
Can I do one?
Yes, please.
I'm going to do it in a different way. So I'm scanning for like a person that I have an unfinished emotion. My brother. So Habet, will you be my brother Nunu?
Nunu, yes, yeah. I'm Nunu. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Hey Nunu, I'm really sad because you don't ever call me. You don't call me. And we don't see each other very often. And I miss you.
You're sad because I never call you and you don't see me very often and you miss me.
Yeah. And I'm really sad because we used to be really close when we were young. And I don't know how to get to you. I don't know how to get close to you all these years.
You're sad because we used to be very close. We used to be very close when we were young. And you don't know how to get to me. To get closer to me.
And I'm angry because I have some sort of expectation that because I'm your sister, you would talk to me.
And you are angry that you have this expectation that just because you are my sister, I would talk to you.
Yeah. And I'm angry also at myself that I have that expectation.
You're angry at yourself that you have that expectation.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's where I'm at. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
There's a question from Jette.
Yes. Thank you, Jette.
Yeah. I have a question about confidentiality. Also for the person named. So as these are recorded.
Oh no, yeah, this what we did, me and Vera, yes. But you will not be recorded in the breakout rooms.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Maybe others were thinking that as well.
Yeah. Do you have any questions before we start? We'll give just a couple of minutes between the two and you can...
There's a question from Tanya.
Okay. Oh, I can't see Tanya so well. Go, Tanya.
You are muted, Tanya. Can you push the space? Yeah.
I wonder if the issue at hand has to do more with an internal perception of oneself. Like I find myself that my worst conflict right now is unresolved issues with myself, how I perceive myself. Is this exercise valid as well?
Yes, you can have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah. As a first, I would also, I mean, you can do with yourself. And as a first, I would just really recommend that you do about something else just to get a first feel of it. Because sometimes that's that's the advanced level kind of thing. No, but that's adding a bit more complexity. So if you can do one and another one about a conflict with yourself. That would be amazing. But this is your choice. This is your game.
I have a question, and it's similar to Tanya, but maybe container. Can you create a container that embraces, for instance, many people? Let's say partners, business partners, a pattern. When you have a pattern in your life, and
you can also speak to parts of you and things like that.
No, but like, were you saying when you have like a big group of people that you want to talk to?
No, it's a pattern. So it can be a part. Let's say employees, bosses, or groups. Can I do the exercise like that, or you not recommend it?
I recommend that you use one name, and then you also go like, and also for this one, and for this guy, and for this one, and for this other person, but just try to name them, name the person that you're talking to. Okay.
What I feel your fear is about is that Njisa and also the other person who asked that question is about your ability, if you can contain that person, because what it's about is that you feel hurt. As long as you feel hurt by that being, whatever that is, or entity, that's the main point, that you feel hurt. If it's too abstract, you might not feel hurt. But you could also speak to Gaia or to someone. I don't know.
I compromise with zero abstraction.
Well, experiment and then tell us how it was. Yeah?
Yeah, it's a nice experiment, actually.
Cool. Okay, so I am going to put you in breakout rooms again, and new ones, actually.
Vera, just asking, how much time do we have?
You will have about 5 minutes each, and then we come back and harvest, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The whole session will be 20 minutes from now.
Yeah. Okay, so this is everyone.
That didn't make any sense. 5 minutes each and then 20 minutes.
Like, I mean, I assumed that his question was about the whole setting, about when he's done, like, yeah, what to say to his wife, or I don't know.
But I'm just moving some people around because they were alone in the group, and I don't want that to happen again. 16. Okay, everyone, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, great. See you soon.
You made a breakout room for me, Vera? You want me to go there?
Just a second. Could you just join in one bit? Because I think one person left, and I don't know if you are needed to go or not.
Okay.
Thank you, Habet, for asking.
Looks like I go there.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no! Wait.
What?
Oh no! They're all gone.
They're.
Do you want me to check the room 1?
Room 1, yes, please. Shalini is by herself. Yeah. Thank you. And I'll stop. I am resuming the recording. Hi, welcome back. I think that's everyone. Okay. Yeah, welcome back. I'd like to have a few minutes of harvest. How was this experience for you? Sarah, yeah, go for it.
Really powerful exercise. Would love to hear from others, and any guidance that you have around when to know the corrective emotional experience or the completion happens. Because once I completed, then I had more to say. Like I was like, oh good, that was complete. I actually have a lot to say to you. And I realized, is that more sets of emotions, or is that something simply to watch as an edge walker, where we have a lot that we're seeing. And so how to not only do that exercise well so that we can complete it, but if I start feeling like there's actually almost a bottomless thing I could do here, what is happening there? What's being indicated? How to know when it's enough, and to maybe use a different modality to work through.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that, Sarah. So sometimes there's more to say once our being realizes that this is a safe space and we're actually being heard. Then it's like, gosh, there's so much more, and this is really great. And so there are some processes that are a bit bigger than that, because when we start, how Njiza was saying that she was, there are some patterns. So then it's kind of, they are part of our box. It gives us information. Okay, this wasn't okay, and I still need to tell this person this, or I'm really sad that I never got to tell you this. But then we start realizing, oh wait, this has happened more times. There's actually, it's bigger than with this person. So that's when we can identify there's something about my way of seeing the world, or my way of experiencing or developing a survival strategy that I learned to deal with the world, that maybe I'd like to review. And so there's other healing processes that we do in a coaching session or in a lab that really go into like the deep. So, and that there's different spaces. But this is, for example, this is great. You can do it with any friend. You can teach them how to do this. And if you realize that you're feeling something for more than 3 minutes, you can stop and say, hey, I'm having an emotion. Could you, and it's not actually about you. So I'm gonna call my friend, and we're gonna I'll come back in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you tell the friend, and you get the friend to do a completion loop. And then you can come back and be present with the person that was with you. Maybe you have to make a boundary as well, you know, but you're addressing, that it's not just about that person. So there's different steps. And for sure, this is going to be, you're going to discover what is your path, because that we're not, we're unique. There's no formulas. So I hope I answered your question. Thanks. Anyone else? In the last couple of minutes, I just want to say also that I'm going to stay here on Habet for 10-15 minutes to answer more questions.
I was just following on what you just said and the exercise that we went through. Yeah. Talk about emotions versus feelings. I found myself talking about my father, and because it's such an ancient, it comes from birth almost. And in talking about trauma, how it's embedded in everything. I wish I could separate it from one thing or from another, but it really, even the feelings that I have, I can't really rely on the fact that they're new or that they're just spontaneous. They do come with a load that, what do you do with that? Like after this exercise, I have a bunch of things, not that I would, try to address right now, but where do you put that? Like, what do you, because it's everywhere. It's really, it's not something that will go away ever, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the box. But
yeah, it's like imagine that you were hungry yesterday and you didn't eat the whole day. No matter how much you would eat today, you would not feed your being hungry from yesterday. So it's not so much about saying, okay, we're going to heal everything, we're going to fix everything. It's not that, because actually nothing needs to be fixed and nothing needs to be healed. The way you are, you're just perfect. It's about having more options. It's about freedom. It's about not having to stay in one pattern. It's about imagining a different world and living a different world, being able to maintain that different world. It's about that. It's not about being super okay and every time super happy. It's not that. It's not about having a good life. It's not even that. It's really about my processes can be helpful for somebody else. And more than that, I'm a gateway for others. I can weave a village. I can create something beyond imagination. It's about that. So whatever you would like to heal, what's in the way is that thing at the door. It's not about going behind that and behind that and behind that. You would like, you see that door over there? I cannot just go there. I would need to have to take some steps to get there. So everything that's in the way to get there, I would like to heal it. It's not about fixing everything and everyone. Does that help in a way?
Can I?
I'm just, before I'm going to answer more questions. I just want to release the people who are wanting to go and say thank you so much for being here and for giving generously your time and your attention and your vulnerability to be in this call. Thank you so much. Yeah. And I just kind of want to make it official that this is the end of the call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. It's great to have you here.
Okay. Yes.
There was a question from Giza, yes.
Yeah.
No, it's
or
not
a comment, yeah.
sharing. It's appreciation. I really enjoyed the exercise, but the gift that it brought me, I get it in a way that I some way may complement with what Tanya was saying. It's really about not collecting more. So it became up this teachings of the Vipassana. So you are not searching to resolve yourself, but stop collecting more stuff, and with the rain of life, the rock wheelie road. But I felt it was another practice that I want to have, to stop collecting more stuff in this armor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just
Thank
say
you.
something really quick?
Yes, please.
So, as a non-English speaker, I can feel the difference between the first and the second exercise, where I was paired with somebody that actually spoke Spanish. So thank you, Tanya. I can really see there's a change in me. Like whenever I try to express myself in English, is way different. It takes me a lot more time to actually come out with the ideas that I want to express. Sometimes I don't find the words. So I really want to show appreciation for being paired with somebody that actually speaks my tongue. And yeah, I hope that in future groups or something we can do more of this. It's not that, I don't want to connect with people that don't speak Spanish, but it's a lot easier for me in this process. I can speak faster, I can think faster, and I can go deeper. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something to that?
Yes, I also wanted to, can I just?
Yeah, sure.
Kalu, thank you so much for representing your side of the world. And as a space holder, it would so help me if someone, and I could have asked in the beginning if there's someone who would like to be paired with people from the same language. So thank you so much for reminding me of that. And that's going to inform me for the next session. So I'm going to start asking this question in the beginning and have another little symbol for me so that I can remember. Thanks.
I just wanted to, it's perhaps more a question than a comment. It's something that I have been thinking about recently a lot. So I work on grief tending, so people come and share in a similar way. And I've noticed that when I'm listening to someone really from the heart, the words, the actual meaning of the words becomes almost irrelevant. And I guess in this case, in this particular exercise, is not so possible because the person that I am impersonating has to say back what the other person said. But to me, it felt more that what was coming out and the emotion or the feeling was the important thing. So I was even wondering if it would be possible to just, even if we are not speaking the same mother tongue, whether each person could speak their language or the language that wants to come out, whether anybody has experience in that multi-language approach. Something I want to do.
Yeah. In Finnhorn, I lived in the Finnhornica village for like 10 years. I just left it last year. And one of there's a practice of doing sharing circles. And basically we just share what goes on, and there's no discussion, and there's no, there's no mirroring back, which is just one of the many formats. And in that way, we would recommend people to speak in their native tongue, because the purpose of those circles was not so much to hear the communication, but to be with, more than this, just the stories and the personality. So that is a very healing space for people who have that need for that space. And then there's other spaces which it's important that our words are heard. And so this is exactly for that second part, because communication will persist until it's received. If we have a communication, an important thing to say, not I am seen, I'm being with, that communication will persist, and it will stay in in our emotional body, will stay in our physical body, in our energetic body, until someone hears it. And so this is the process, so that when it's done, the energy that we were holding on to, that emotion that we were using to hold on to that information, now can be released and be used for whatever we want right now.
Yeah, just as an example, the conversation I had with Vera, I was talking to my daughter, but it didn't satisfy me the way it was satisfying to hear, to get it repeated back. So, because my daughter would react, right? She would say, yeah, but and you, and there was a, and then I wouldn't feel that she heard me, that the essence of what I want to say was heard. So yeah, and that exercise is important to repeat it back. But for the other processes, we would want everyone to speak their own tongue.
Will we say this is a healing exercise?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just try it out with friends. It's so, even with friends who are not into stuff like personal development, it could be really helpful. The key is really, it's not to just say the words, is actually to connect empathically, because we get it. We get when someone else is just kind of ticking boxes with us. So I guess that you have a lot of experience, because you were great already feeling and everything. So by modeling it, you can really help that with your friends and the people around you.
For me, the experience was extraordinary in that my partner definitely heard, because they repeated back to me. But in the repeating back, I heard me. I really heard what I had said. And I think, although I've many times thought things and probably gone all over the same stuff in my head before, when it was repeated back, I could hear me, and that was extraordinary.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so moved and touched that you had that experience. Yeah.
It was, for me, it was no accident that Atal and I were paired together. It was very easy for me to feel and respond. And something that I so appreciated was sitting in silence together when we had both completed. There was for me something beyond that, it's beyond words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I was noticing for myself that as my partner was mirroring back to me what I had said with a feeling, I was kind of getting cranked up about what I wanted to say next. So I'm not sure I fully received what was said. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, that sometimes happens because with our box, we model and we censor ourselves what we really actually want to say. And so we kind of, the first few times are very palatable, are kind of towards what the other person could maybe hear. And so it's kind of already slightly rehearsed. And then actually, this is why it's really important to like let the feeling speak. And it's really good that we're not doing with the actual person, because we can really let loose. We can really let a little bit more loose, let really what's going on, and not the palatable, polite, kind of package, you know? And so I think that could be what was happening. That's actually like, that's not what I want to say. It's not what I want to say. You're digging deeper. So maybe with practice, you're going to get, you know, like Habet and I have done this quite a few times. So it's quite easy for us to kind of go a bit deeper. So keep going. Yeah. And if you do this with other friends, and please tell me how it's going. Please let me know. Possibility management isn't like, it's a finished thing. It's a continuous body of research. So yeah, please report back. I want to hear your experiments and your practices.
Hi, Vera.
Sorry, you can. Yeah.
Sorry. Can I speak? Yeah. So I was just telling that first, when we were asked to, when you explained the exercise, one of the things that I was thinking was, will it be possible to really talk to somebody who is a very different person than who we are? But it's so magical. I also thank Habet for being my partner. So one of the things I realized was, I really magically felt as if I was talking to the person that I was actually being there. And that was very magical, because right now, even after I finished, in my body, I still feel that I have spoken to the same person.
Yes, you've done that because the person is in you. That's what Jesus said in the beginning, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah.
Yeah, you're melting together. Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will send the email with a lot of the resources and a further kind of explanation, lengthier explanations about some of these tools. And if you are interested, I will also bring an invitation if you want to practice this. You know, we might feel a feeling throughout the whole month of the summit, and maybe you want to practice being heard and feeling. And so I will put the invitation out, and if people want to do that, and you can pair up and just be, or be in groups of 4 and be buddies for this. And you see that it only takes a couple of minutes for each person, or sometimes it takes like 5 minutes. So it's not like a whole hour of commitment to do this process. Okay. Yeah, and Habet is also saying that it can be used in groups and villages and communities, used as check-in. It's great cleaning. Yeah.
It was made for that, basically. The guy who invented it, he made it for eco villages and groups and group dynamics. Yes.
Just to clarify, so in a group, I have this group of 11 people, and they all not have the dynamics, but for instance, I will have the person A, B, C, and A, B has an issue. I can do A with C, and B will do from, okay,
Right,
great.
yes. You can do like the pan process, that the two people who are talking to each other would sit in the middle and the rest would hold space for them. So they can change, yeah.
Great,
Yes.
wow.
I can also send in the email, send the resources with some of these community processes, which if you're in organizations, that could be very helpful. I would like to really hear for someone who hasn't spoken yet. Please.
Yeah, there's Joel. How are you, Joel? How is everything?
I'm great. Well, thank you for the space to experience all of this, and I think the most interesting for me was repeating back what my partner in the breakout room was saying. I could really feel every emotion that he was saying and that he was caring when he was thinking about the situation. I could really sense all of that in my body and feel it. That was really interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, when we can connect with the being and not their box, you know, it's the part that I said of when we're in conflict with someone. It's our boxes, our habits, our stories are in conflict with the other person's box and stories and habits and things. And this process kind of bypasses it. You know, it's possible for you to be in connection with the being, just with the being. You know, you can even repeat the words and you don't have to agree with them or disagree, because it's not about agreeing and disagreeing. Agreeing and disagreeing is the box. You're just present and listening. So it bypasses the whole personality thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I could feel the depth of the whole situation and how dense those feelings were from both, from the person I was representing and from who was talking to me.
That's amazing. And to add some, we didn't say this because it's, you know, it was the first time doing this process, this healing process. And sometimes it is the person who's who has the energy of role playing, the person, they have feelings, and sometimes they even have communications. Okay, so sometimes it's kind of like family constellations. There is a communication to be said back. And so in these moments, we didn't give the space for this, but in these moments, it is possible. It's not required, but it is possible. It might be possible if it feels appropriate to say or to feel, to just be there. So it seems like you were very connected with the energy of that person that you were being.
Yeah, I felt like that.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again in the other rooms and the other spaces that you are holding to. Thank you. Habet just left. Oh, I am sad that she disappeared. But I'm gonna say on behalf of her, I think. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll see you.
Thank you to Beth.